Right, so hello and welcome to a Ross Dillon video, and today again we're doing stuff for cars, and today I thought I'd show you what I'm deeming the best way to install neons on your car. And the first thing you want to do is, if you see those eBay neon kits, don't buy one. I bought one, it lasted a whole week. Within the first day all the strips fell off, I had to glue them back, and then after a week one of them stopped working. A couple of weeks down the line they're all different colours and some of them weren't working, just not worth the aggro. It does take quite a while to actually install the kit, so I wouldn't even bother with those kits. And even worse, even though I've only got a Toyota Starlet, I still struggled with the rear strip with length. So if you've got anything longer than a Toyota Starlet, which is pretty much everything, you're going to really struggle. So scrap those kits, we're going custom with potentially the best way to install neons. So you need 5 basic things. First thing, you want your LEDs. Make sure these are waterproof. A couple of the ones I've installed previously weren't waterproof and they then don't last. So make sure it's waterproof. Easiest way to tell, there'll be like a silicone extra layer, and if you can't probably quite tell, but these are a bit thicker. These are also single colour, so I went with purple, and so they just have the 2 wires rather than the 4 and RGB. Now here in the UK your best option is go with a colour that isn't blue or red, because then if you have them on the road you're less likely to get pulled over because it doesn't match emergency service colours. The other thing is make sure they're tucked up. As far as I've read, as long as the emitting light is not visible, then these are completely legal. Again, take that how you will, don't use them all the time, you're just asking for trouble. Back to the things you need. So, next thing, you're going to want some cable. I just get some automotive 2-core, it's cheap off eBay, works really well, it's a lot easier than running 2 separate wires for the 2 here. You probably want between 5 and 10 meters depending on the length of your car. Already installed on the car and not here is I've just got a toggle switch, just simple on off for 12 volts. And also already fitted in the car I've got a little fuse board. Always fuse things you're running directly off the battery. You could run this off the ignition if you wanted to make sure it's off when the car's off, but I like running it off the main battery with a switch because it means I can leave them on when I'm at shows for all the hot boy points. Final thing you want is some glue. Now LED strips do come with this sticky tape, sticky tape on the background. It says it's 3M, but most stuff from China it's probably 3WAN. You want some stickle. This is what I use, crystal clear silicone glue. It doesn't have to be stickle, most silicone glues are really good. That stuff is super strong, it holds on my spoiler on my Starlet. I've done around 20,000 miles and the thing's still on the boot of my car, so I trust this stuff. That's what I would recommend. It's only about £7 on Amazon, next day delivery, love it. The last thing I'll say is when you're wiring your switch, if you are new to electronics, you only have to switch the ground. So you then don't have to run the power all the way to your switch and back. So run the power from the battery to your 2-core, and then run the ground up to where you want your switch, and then just ground the switch out in the nearest place possible. This way you don't have to run 2-core as far, which can save you some wiring, but also saves a lot of mess. So, little tip for you, only switch the ground, saves you a little bit of aggro. Now, let's go outside, pull off some of my old strips that aren't working, and go and sort this kit out. So, car's in the air. I've already got quite a bit of the kit installed because I've already had Underglow on before, so I'll talk you through that first. Down there, this thing here is a little fuse board, so I've got a 5 amp fuse which then has a live cable that goes through the firewall and under the glove box, and that's where all of the cables for the strips run. So that's where power comes from. Then we go into the driver's side. Behind this switch, the ground from the all the LED strips runs to the back of this. It then goes through the switch and it's then ground out on the dashboard. So then that's my switch for turning it on and off. All of the cables join up under the glove box. So all the cables run through the bottom of the car, work their way to the front, then they're in the glove box. The perk of this custom kit is you can run all custom cable lengths, custom LED strip lengths, so you can actually run a lot of the cables internally, which really helps with the longevity of the kit. And also, there's not many places to zip tie cables up to the bottom of your car, so getting them inside as soon as possible is a lot easier. So in terms of tools you'll need, first of all you need jack and stands, get the car in the air, and then I use a bucket and sponge to help clean up the surface. That really helps with adhesion for the glue. Need some snips, some strippers, electrical tape, heat shrink if you want to use it, not a necessity, you can just use electrical tape. And then a soldering iron. I've got one of those 12-volt ones that actually work really handy when you're working on your car because you don't have to run mains cables. And then obviously you need a squidgy thing for your glue. And I use some masking tape to hold up the strips while they cure. I've actually got one of them done, so I'll show you that. So we'll climb under here, crank that so you guys can see. So this one's where the cable comes through. There is a grommet. I'm a bit close. There's a grommet there, which is where, oh, I'm still struggling to focus. Come on, camera. I don't know how you can see that, but just sort of there's a grommet, and that's where the cable runs out, and then it sort of loops around into the end of the strip. Autofocus is having a head fit, we'll ignore that. I've then soldered the LED strip to the end of that 2 core that comes from over in the other glove box, and then I've simply stuck the strip along the underside of the car, which I'd cleaned before doing, and then just masked it up just to make sure it can stay while it's gluing, because when the strips come they're coiled up and they have a tendency to want to curl, so I just stick up the ends, just help them while the glue cures. And that once stuck, you remove that and that will be well and truly on there. So now I'm just going to go around and do the other 3. I'm leaving the front one on because that one seems to still work and I quite like how it's positioned, so I'm just going to leave it as is. If it works, don't fix it. So we'll be sticking with that. I'll do the others and then hopefully do a little preview of what it looks like all round. Final thing, I use a little plastic P-clip. I think focus might be working now. Yeah, a little plastic P-clip and a self-tapper just helps keep it up out of the way. Last thing you want is them dragging on the floor because the cables will just rip out and then you won't be having a good day at all. So spend your time now because it will pay off in the long run. So the kit is now all installed. It's also the next day, so the glue is dried. Do not drive it before the glue's set. Ask me how I know. It's now dark outside, so there's only one thing left to do. Go get some banging instas. If you want to give us a follow, at drive-the-90s, but instead of spaces they're underscores. So I'm also going to put some clips in because you obviously want to see the final piece. So let's go outside, head out and get some shots.